This is a sight people everywhere love to see, a bull elk in his prime, nature at its most magnificent. Many hunters live for the day they might find and take an animal like this.
Now that's milk.
So that people will experience this sight and sound for years to come, hunting seasons and regulations are in place to protect animals when they are the most vulnerable.
And unfortunately, what we're finding up here these days, and you know, I hate to have to say this, but any critter that spends any time near the road and is seen by a number of people is a dead animal.
That's where this guy comes in.
Black mark to the black mark.
Meet Stuffy the Wonder Elk, a 5-point veteran in a campaign to keep wildlife safe at night.
Make him a bull tonight.
Conservation officers built Stuffy so they could move its head by remote control.
And if the animal didn't move, they'd leave. They wouldn't shoot it. We've had several times where, now that we're using the animal that moves, we impart some movement to that animal, and we hear them say, "It moved, shoot it." Okay. Looks like we were ready to go for tonight.
Using the decoy is extremely effective in that when somebody shoots one of these things, it's the talk of the town, at least up here, and the stories of it will rifle through the crowds of hunters and sportsmen pretty quick. It's incredibly embarrassing for someone to have shot one of these things, but on the serious note, it's saving a lot of critters out there.
Fish and Game started using artificial animals in 1989. That year, 25% of the people who saw a decoy would shoot at it.
The more we use the ASA, the fewer number of violations that we had. Dropped to a low in about 1994 of about 10%. Since 94, we've had decreased budgets, decreased number of officers, decreased officer presence in the field, and we're finding those violation rates are going up quite dramatically. Last year, 1996, our violation rate was about 36%. This year so far, 1997, it's been about 39%.
You smell it? You smell it?
Elk.
Elk.
They've been here.
It's in the air.
Once the sun sets and hunting is over for the day, officers move in to set up Stuffy the 5-point bull. The season is closed to hunting bull elk in this unit. People have also reported spotlighting and gunshots in this area at night.
We're ready.
We set it up in areas where we've had problems in the past, and we've probably got a higher percentage of poachers using those areas.
Well, we should be set. Again, your average hunter wouldn't even think of taking a loaded gun out at night, when his headlights or a spotlight is on a critter. It's just, and the hunters up here just find it totally unacceptable that someone's out there with a light, with a loaded weapon at night. It's dangerous, and it's also taking a serious hit on the wildlife up here.
We're ready.
The conservation officers retreat into the forest and wait nervously for what comes next.
Anyone to tell you right after that gun goes off, you're not a little spooked, contacting these folks, they'd be lying to you if they said they're not a little spooked, because again, we're taking people with felony warrants. They're under the influence of drugs at times. They're intoxicated on something, more times than not. And so we never know who we're dealing with. It's in the dark, and it could be anybody.
319, 315, got one coming in, stand by. They just hit the brakes, looks like they see it. Okay, they just blew on by, looks like they may be going around and turn around. Going down the road and turn around, stand by. Okay, passenger just shot, come out and get him.
Stop your vehicle! Come to the back of the vehicle and put your hands on the back of the vehicle. Very slowly, exit the vehicle. Everybody out, hands up.
We're real nervous, and we know they're real nervous. And what's going through my mind is these people have loaded weapons. They're a danger to themselves, and they're a major danger to the officers that are coming in on them. So our first concern is to get those guns down and away from them and in a safe direction.
Do you have any other weapons in the vehicle besides this one up front?
Most shooters know right away what's happened,
Okay,
but
tight.
officers go to great lengths to explain what they did and why it's wrong.
Well, nobody told me to stop and shoot at him, so that was actually our fault. And you know, it's easy to tell because it doesn't move at all. It's just, and when he shot it, I go, hey, you missed, and he was going to shoot it again. I'm glad he didn't. Well, that would have been worse.
Okay, Nicholas, again, as Officer Ginger explained to you, you're not going to be, arrested tonight. We're going to...
George Fisher issues the shooter a citation for shooting from a public road, hunting with the aid of a light, and shooting a simulated animal during a closed season and at night.
Okay, let me get you to sign right there. These guys aren't a bunch of, evil, horrible folks. They're just average guys taking advantage of some vulnerable wildlife, and that's probably how we lose the majority of our, poached wildlife in the state of Idaho, is just people taking advantage of a vulnerable critter, and, as you can see, this is highly illegal what they did. And
yeah, we've been coming every weekend since they opened, and until now we haven't caught anything yet. We've seen a lot of cows, no bulls until this one here was not a real bull. So we'll keep hunting. We really love doing that.
So I think it helps to identify those people, get them into the courtroom, provide some punishment for them, and hopefully from that they will learn a lesson.
In Valley County, fish and game violations end up in Judge Darla Williamson's courtroom. She has a reputation of being tough but fair.
I think the ASA program allows Fish and Game an opportunity to locate and identify those individuals who would poach. Because these people who would shoot the artificial deer are people who would be poaching if this animal was alive.
When the shooter does appear in court, he will lose his hunting license for at least a year and pay a minimum fine of $625. He could also face jail time.
And shot right here. The exit wound on the other side.
If Stuffy had been a real elk, the penalty would be more severe.
First of all, I believe that poaching gives hunting and hunters a bad name. Generally, when we read about poaching incidents, it's during the hunting season. And so I think that causes people to view hunting in a negative manner. Secondly, poaching deprives the sportsman, of those game. And also I think it's important that you give wildlife a sporting chance. And to me, poaching does not do that.
319, 315, we've got one coming in, stand by.
At least 30 cars drove by Stuffy on the Warm Lake Highway. Some stopped to admire him, but most people just cruised on by.
319, they have turned around, headed back towards the ASA.
But before the night is up, another person tries to kill Stuffy.
Okay, passenger just shot. Passenger just shot. Come on, get him.
Put your hands up. You come to the back of the vehicle. Put your hands on the back of the vehicle.
The two hunters are clearly embarrassed for being caught shooting a decoy. George believes shame may be the most effective way to stop would-be poachers.
I've never done anything so stupid.
Okay, luckily in this case it was a stuffed one, and you didn't kill a real elk. If you killed a real elk, you'd be going to jail tonight. So no, it makes, and you never feel really good sighting folks, but it's a job that needs to be done, and hopefully they'll tell their friends and a bunch of other folks that, hey, you don't hunt at night. And I don't think they'll ever do it again. It looks like they learned their lesson. And again, nothing against them personally, but their hunting behavior isn't very ethical at all. 20989. You can see any elk along this highway tonight, the Warm Lake Highway off of Cascade, Idaho, would have been dead tonight. And we feel pretty good that we were here, to stop that. Warm Lake Highway and Goforth Lookout Road.
Both drivers and shooters appeared in a Valley County court November 18th. The judge revoked the drivers' hunting licenses for 1 year. She fined them $229 plus $71 in court costs. The judge revoked the shooters' licenses for a total of 2 years, fining them $384 plus $143 in court costs. One shooter's gun was donated to the Idaho Hunter Ed program. The other shooter donated $450 to the Hunter Ed program and kept his rifle instead.